These are the top 10 slides for 2025, and trust me, this year's list is stacked. Whether you're hitting the beach, running errands, or just chilling at home, a good comfy pair of slides is essential this summer. And with so many options out there, it can be tough to actually know what's worth your money. But that's where this list comes in. I've spent the last few years testing as many slides as I possibly could get my hands on, from high-tech recovery pairs to super soft foam loungers, and after all of that, I've narrowed it down to the top 10 best options that you can buy right now. I mean, this list kinda has something for everybody, whether you like your slides plush and squishy, firm and supportive, or clean and minimal. And they're all actually good looking too. So if you're trying to upgrade your summer rotation, this is the video for you. But before we jump into the top 10, I've got one honorable mention that definitely deserves a shout out, and that is pretty much any pair of 3D printed slides from Zellerfeld. Now, I'm not specifically pointing to one particular pair here because honestly, Zellerfeld's whole catalog is wild, and every pair is fully 3D printed, and the comfort level honestly will surprise you. The 3D printed footbeds give you an incredibly plush and bouncy ride that's really unlike anything else on this list. It's futuristic, it's weird in the best way, and it's super comfortable. Now, this is just one example from a brand named Cinnaminson, but they've also collaborated with a bunch of huge names too, like Nike, Staple, Yeezy, and a ton of designers pushing some pretty amazing boundaries. So whether you're into sleek minimalism or wild sculptural designs, there's probably something in their lineup that'll speak to you. Now, the one downside, these aren't your typical grab and go slides. Since every pair is custom printed to your exact foot shape, they take a couple weeks, sometimes a couple months to arrive. But when they do, you're stepping into something truly unique. And hey, if you've been curious about trying Zellerfeld but haven't pulled the trigger yet, you're in luck. I've actually got a collab pair dropping soon, the Apothecary Mule. The name is pending. We haven't actually come up with a finalized title yet, but there you go. It is printed by Zellerfeld, and I've got to say, they are fire, in my own humble opinion. So stay tuned for more information. These are dropping very soon. Also, the footbed, ridiculously soft. I mean, this is a crazy comfortable mule. Actually, I might drop a top 10 mule video in the next couple weeks, so stay tuned for that as well. All right, let's get into number 10, the Adidas Adilette Comfort Slides. The first shoe on the list, the Adilette Comfort Slide, has been around for years, and that's for good reason. It's very comfortable. Now, don't get things twisted. This is not your dad's old rubber shower slide. The Adilette Comfort might look basic, but it's actually a modernized take on one of Adidas's most iconic silhouettes. It's simple, it's clean, and it's super wearable. While it doesn't have all of the bells and whistles of some of the newer recovery slides on this list, it still holds up in 2025 as a solid go-to everyday option. Now, the biggest update here is actually in the comfort part of the name. Adidas swapped out the hard rubber footbed of the OG Adelettes for a cushioned EVA foam midsole. And while it's not the softest on the list, it's a big step up in terms of underfoot feel. It's got just enough to keep things comfortable. It's actually super soft and squishy, but it's a bit thinner than some of the other slides on the list, so that's probably why it's not as soft underfoot. Now, the upper is a synthetic leather band that wraps over the top of your foot with a soft textile lining to keep the top of your foot comfy. And I'll be honest, these slides are pretty easy to wear with just about anything. I mean, they're basic slides. But now let's talk price. These usually retail for around $35, but in a lot of cases you can find them for under $30 on sale. And even for the full $35, they're still one of the best bang for buck options out there right now. These run true to size, and because of the way that the upper is kind of positioned, they work well for wide footers as well, so there's really no reason to size up unless you're kind of in between a couple sizes. Are they the flashiest or techiest slides on the list? No, but for a no-fuss, budget-friendly, wear-em everyday foam slide, the Adidas Adilette Comfort still deserves a spot on the top 10. If you're looking to keep things simple and stay comfy, you really can't go wrong with these. Plus, there's a ton of different colors and styles to choose from, so you can find pretty much anything that you're looking for. And hey, if you want to grab a pair of these for yourself, I've made sure to link them and all of the other slides that we talk about in today's video through the YouTube shopping tab on your screen. Number 9, the North Face Never Stop Cush Slide. Alright, so this next pair might be a bit of a sleeper hit, but you really shouldn't overlook it. The North Face Never Stop Cush Slide is one of the most cozy, low-key slides on the market right now. And honestly, if you're into that sort of ultra soft lounge around all day vibe, this one should be on your radar. Now, at first glance, these don't look like your typical foam slides. Instead of a molded EVA or a sculpted foam strap, you've got something that looks a little bit more like a puffer jacket on your feet. And that's kind of the whole point. The upper is made of a padded quilted textile and is lined with soft fabric, giving the whole slide a slipper meets slide feel, perfect for indoor wear, but definitely wearable outside too. Underfoot, the cushioning comes from an EVA foam, which gives you that nice balance of softness and bounce. It also seems like it's a dual density foam too. It's softer on the top, and a little bit harder on the bottom for durability. Now, side note, I kind of like some of the little hidden design details that you can find on this shoe, like the topographical map on the footbed and the North Face logo that acts as a traction pattern on the outsole. I think it's actually kind of a cool touch. Now, are these as performance-based as something like the Hoka Ooaa or the Ufus OA? No, but they're not trying to be. These are all about casual comfort and cozy vibes. Think airport travel days or quick coffee runs or even chilling at home after hitting the gym. In terms of fit, these do run pretty much true to size, but they do have a slightly snug upper. So if you're in between sizes or have a wider foot, then you should go up that full size because there are no half size. Visually, I think these slides look great. They've got that clean utilitarian North Face face aesthetic with a couple nice neutral colorways. Nothing really too loud, they're all kind of earth tones, and they're all very wearable. And because they don't have that foam strap on the upper, they're also very packable, so you can kind of flatten them out, throw them in a suitcase with no issues whatsoever. Now the price point is $40, which definitely puts them in that mid-tier zone, but I will say that they actually feel more premium than that price point would suggest. Number 8, the Ufus OA Slide. Now if you've ever Googled a recovery slide, there's a good chance that you've come across this next pair, the Ufus OA Slide. I like to draw that out. There's a lot of O's in there. This slide has become, I guess, sort of legendary when it comes to the recovery footwear world. I'll be honest, I had never seen this before until I ran across them at my local Champs. Then I did some research and I'm like, wow, this is actually a very popular brand. At first glance, the Ooas might look pretty basic. It's got a very clean and minimal design with no wild branding or flashy colorways, at least not when you buy the standard one. But really, the simplicity, I think, is a broad part of the appeal. This is definitely one of those slides that's about function over fashion. And when it comes to function, it delivers pretty well in the comfort department. These slides are made up of foam. You probably could have guessed that, which is Ufus proprietary cushioning material. It's not your typical EVA foam. It's actually designed to absorb, I think it's like 37% more impact than traditional footwear foams. Not totally sure if that's true. That's just what their marketing says. So there you go. I will say though that this foam is pretty soft and pretty shock absorbing. In fact, it feels very, very soft when you squeeze it, but not as soft as some of the other shoes on the list. It definitely feels great to wear after a run or a long workout or just a full day on your feet. Now the footbed and actually the outsole is anatomically shaped, which gives you some nice arch support in the slide, better than some of the other slides on this list. And you've also got this rocker shape, which if you like rocker shapes is great because it does help with your natural gait, I think is what it's supposed to help with. I actually don't mind rocker shapes because it kind of rocks you into the next step. That's my own personal opinion though. Now let's be honest, this is not a slide that you're throwing on to flex in. It's not a pair of Gucci slides. It is a little goofy looking, but when you actually throw it on foot and rock it, you'll understand why it's so popular. Now getting to sizing, these do fit pretty much true to size, but like most of the other slides that we're going to talk about on today's list, and most of the other slides out there, they only come in full sizes. And because I wouldn't say they're narrow, but because they fit a regular foot width pretty well, I would say if you're in between sizes, probably go up a full size rather than down a full size. Oh, also, a kind of cool selling point about these slides is that they're machine washable, which is something that maybe other brands should try too. I mean, hey, some of these other slides might be as well, but they don't specifically say it, so I'm afraid to put them in the washing machine. Now, the price point for the Ooas is a bit higher at $60, but in my opinion, it's totally justified by the level of comfort that you're getting. Number 7, the New Balance Fresh Foam Recovery Slide. So one thing you'll notice as we move through this list is that a lot of these slides are marketed as recovery footwear. And while that sounds cool and all, let's be real. Most of us aren't throwing these on after a marathon. We're just trying to give our feet something soft and comfortable to live in all day. That said, the New Balance Fresh Foam Recovery Slide is actually designed for post-workout recovery. But even if you've never touched a treadmill, this slide still delivers some pretty decent underfoot comfort. As the name suggests, it uses fresh foam, which is one of New Balance's softer midsole foams, typically found in their performance running shoes. Now, based on what you can actually see from the outside, the bulk of the shoe is made up of a soft EVA foam, which makes up both the strap and the bottom half of the shoe. But this is where things get interesting. At the heel, you'll notice an exposed honeycomb area, and that's where the fresh foam is clearly visible. Whether it runs the full length of the footbed inside the slide or it's just concentrated at the heel, I'm not totally sure, but either way, it does feel great underfoot. Now, this is not an overly soft slide. You're not gonna sink into this shoe like you will with some of the other shoes on the list. Instead, it strikes a really nice balance between comfort and responsiveness. It's soft enough to relax in, but springy enough to keep you moving without dragging. One unique feature about this slide is the textured footbed. There are these little bumps, or I guess dimples, that provide a light massaging effect as you walk. Personally, I like it, but I know it's not for everyone, so if you're super sensitive to foot texture, this might not be something that you should consider. Now, design-wise, I'll be honest, it gets a little bit busy, at least for my taste. The Fresh Foam Slide definitely takes inspiration from its bigger sibling, the New Balance Recovery Clog, which I think pulls off the look a little bit better. The slide version isn't bad by any means, it's just a little over-designed compared to the cleaner looks of something like the Crocs Mellow Slide or the Hoka Ooaa. But hey, beauty is subjective. But now for the best part, the price. At $45 retail, these are actually one of the most affordable slides on the list, and definitely a great value, especially if you're hunting for that sort of recovery foam slide feel. Sizing-wise, I'd say that these do fit pretty much true to size. However, even though they look wide, they do kind of feel a bit snug around the forefoot of the shoe, and I think that's just because the strap is a little bit more, I guess, leaned inwards towards the top of your foot. So if you do have a wider foot, maybe go up half a size, or maybe it'd fit you fine after you wear it more and it kind of stretches out to fit your foot. I'm not totally sure. I would just say for me, as someone who's got a regular size foot, fits me great, but I do sort of feel the sides more than I do on other pairs of slides. And again, these only come in full sizes, so realistically, I think you should try the shoe on first before you buy it. But hey, if you can't, go true to size, or if you have wider feet, maybe go up a full size. Number 6, the Adidas Adilette Lumia Slide. So Adidas just launched, or recently launched, a new foam slide that's designed to do it all. Whether you're heading to the beach or running errands or just lounging around your house, the Adidas Adilette Lumia is a clean, minimal slide that clearly draws inspiration from the Yeezy Slides. And hey, honestly, that's not a bad thing because visually, these actually look pretty great. They've got that sleek, sort of sculpted look that people seem to love about Yeezys, but at a way more accessible price point. Now, from what I can tell, they're made up of some sort of EVA foam, which gives you a nice amount of softness underfoot. Not the squishiest on the market, but definitely soft enough for all-day wear. The footbed is pretty nicely sculpted with some arch support and also this ridge here that really helps to keep your toes in place. Now, Adidas is marketing these as quick-drying, water-ready slides, which is cool, I guess. I mean, they literally say water-adjacent on their website because that's what you're supposed to wear these for, water-adjacent things. I don't, are you like next to a pool? I guess that actually makes a lot of sense. I guess that's cool, but let's be honest, that can be said about pretty much any other foam slide on the planet. Still, it's nice to know they are pool and shower friendly, I guess, if you're looking for a multi-use option. Now, one thing I really like about these slides is their earth-toned color palette. Very Yeezy-esque. You've got muted greens and browns and neutrals that just work with a lot of casual fits. I mean, nothing flashy like Yeezys, but they're very wearable. Now, fit-wise, these get a bit more interesting because they run a bit long and slightly narrow, which is kind of odd. So if you've got wider feet, I'd recommend at least sizing up. But for narrow or standard width footers, true to size should be just fine. But here's the kicker, the price point. It's just 35 bucks. So the Adilette Lumia is one of the cheapest foam slides out there right now, and honestly, one of the best bang for buck options if you're looking for a comfy, versatile slide that looks good and won't break the bank. So really, if you're not trying to drop Yeezy money, but you still want that look and feel, these might be the move. Number 5, the Crocs Mellow Slide. So this slide has held the top spot on this list in years past, but this time around, I think it's finally been outdone by some of the newer heat farther down the list. That said, the Crocs Mellow Slide is still a fan favorite, and honestly, it's easy to see why. For this shoe, Crocs took their very comfortable light ride foam and built a slide around it that's all about softness, simplicity, and everyday wearability. I mean, the Mellow Slide is clean, it's modern, and most importantly, it's very soft underfoot. The footbed is somewhat deep and sculpted, which lets your foot kind of sink into the foam. It's also got this sort of massaging texture, which is nice if you like that. It's overall just a very relaxing experience every time you slip them on. Design-wise, the Mellow Slide leans into that minimal look. It's not super minimal because it's got that kind of ventilation hole on the side, but it's definitely sort of Yeezy Slide-esque. It's not really flashy, it's not trying too hard, it just kind of works. Crocs did just drop a textured version, and while I appreciate the effort to switch things up, I'm just not into it. The toned down aesthetic of the OG version just kind of hits the mark for me. One of the best things about the Mellow Slide is how versatile they are because of how simple they are. They don't scream for attention, they just look good doing their job, kind of like me. They also offer a slightly roomier fit, so if you've got wider feet, these could be a great choice. But even if you're a standard width person like myself, they're comfortable enough that you'll probably enjoy the extra space. But here's the best part, they are on sale right now at the time of filming this video. Normally they retail for 40 bucks, which is already pretty solid, but I've seen them going for like $30 or even as low as $24 depending on the colorway. So if you've been on the fence, now is a good time to grab a pair. You can check them out through the YouTube shopping tab on your screen, super easy. At the end of the day, the Crocs Mellow Slide might not be the flashiest or most innovative slide on the list anymore, but it still delivers where it counts: comfort, simplicity, and wearability. And for that, and also the price, it's still definitely worth considering. Number 4, the Hoka Ooaa Recovery Slide 3. This is one of the most popular slides on the entire list. I mean, Hoka as a brand has been booming over the past few years, and their slides have ridden the same wave of success. I mean, the Ooaa 3s are everywhere: gyms, airports, coffee shops, you name it, and once you slip them on, it's pretty easy to see why. Now, unlike some of these softer and squishier options that we've covered, the Ooaa 3s bring a firmer, more supportive feel. Now, don't get me wrong, they're still very comfortable, but they definitely lean towards structure and support rather than marshmallowy softness, although they do have some of that too. This slide features a dual density EVA construction. The top layer, which includes the strap and the footbed, is super soft EVA foam. That's where you get your initial step in comfort and plush underfoot feel. Now, underneath that, the midsole/outsole layer is a firmer EVA that still compresses well, but adds much needed support and stability. It's a really smart combo, especially for anyone dealing with like foot fatigue or post-running soreness or just looking for all-day wearability. And just like Hoka's other running shoes, the Ooaa Slide 3s have a wide platform, making them a great option for wide footers and anyone who wants a more stable ride. Now, visually, yes, they are definitely chunkier and taller than your average slide, but that bulk is kind of part of the charm. It gives them a bold, distinctive look that's instantly recognizable. Hey, maybe if you wear these out and about, someone who's a runner is gonna give you a nod out of respect, like, yo, I see you rocking those Hokas. Or maybe they won't, I don't know, but you'll still look good, so that's all that's important. I mean, at 60 bucks, they're reasonably priced, especially for the level of overall engineering that you're getting. They're perfect for post-workout recovery, great for errands or the beach, or just honestly sitting at home. Getting into sizing though, these can feel a bit roomy if you've got narrow feet, but I still recommend going true to size. Even if you're standard width, wide footers, you're gonna love the size. They're dope, if not a little wild looking, but what Hoka shoe isn't wild looking? Number 3, the AS6 Actib Breeze 3D Sandal 2. Next up, we've got one of the most futuristic slides on the entire list, both in looks and also how they're made. As the name would suggest, these slides are partially 3D printed, which is wild, but also kind of smart. They dropped last year as a follow-up to the original Actibreeze 3D Sandals, which was a fully 3D printed slide from heel to toe. And while that first version was definitely cooler, in my opinion, it had two major issues. The first, limited sizing, and the second, a pretty steep price tag, especially if you bought them on the resale market. I paid like $300 for my pair, which is stupid, I know, but I review sneakers for a living, I had to. And that's because 3D printed slides take time and money. And actually, these slides use a different 3D printing technology than the Zellerfelds that we talked about earlier, and they feel a little bit different underfoot. So with the Actibreeze Actibreeze 2s, Asics found the perfect middle ground. Instead of printing the entire slide, they focused on just the footbed, which features this airy 3D printed lattice structure, and then they paired it with a traditional foam exterior, and the result, way better availability, better sizing range, and more accessible price point. Now, if you're into 3D printing like I am, just being able to wear a 3D printed shoe is awesome in general, but even if you don't care about the tech, the benefits are real. This lattice footbed doesn't just look cool, it lets air flow all around your foot, which is amazing for hot summer days, and your feet stay cooler and sweat less. Win-win. And comfort, it's surprisingly solid. That lattice is engineered to deliver targeted support and cushioning, especially around the arch, which is nice. Something that regular foam slides can't really pull off. It's soft, it's springy, and your feet feel supported without sinking in too much. That said, there is one downside, at least in my opinion. If you're going barefoot in these, that open lattice structure can feel a bit weird, kind of like you're standing on a soft grate. It's not painful or uncomfortable per se, it's just a sensation that you might not love right away or ever. Personally, I prefer to rock these with socks. Specifically, apothecary socks. I mean, you guys already know the deal. We just dropped a bunch of new low and mid-length colors, and they pair perfectly with slides like these. They're super soft, there's tons of color options, and if you want to try them out, hit up apothecary.com and use my code SETH for $5 off of your first order. But back to the Actibreeze 2s. These fit true to size and retail for $90, which does make them one of the pricier options on the list. But hey, with that futuristic design, the breathability, and the real underfoot comfort, I think they're worth every penny, especially if you're into footwear innovation, which I definitely am. Number 2, the Adidas Yeezy Slide. When we talk about the best slides over the last 5 years, one name keeps coming up, and honestly for good reason, the Adidas Yeezy Slide. It's not just iconic, it's genuinely one of the most comfortable pairs of slides ever made. But here's the catch, which a lot of you guys probably already know. Getting a pair in 2025 is not easy. After the highly publicized split between Kanye West and Adidas, production of Yeezy products, including the slides, came to a screeching halt. Sure, Adidas did trickle out leftover inventory over the next couple of years, but now that stock is pretty much gone. No new pairs are expected to drop, at least for the foreseeable future. Getting into some of the history, the Yeezy Slide originally dropped back in December of 2019, and if you were lucky enough to get a pair from that first release, you'll notice they're a bit different from the later ones. Earlier versions had a smooth foam finish and felt firmer underfoot. However, over time, Adidas tweaked the formula, and later pairs, like this one, came with a more textured exterior and a much softer, squishier feel. The slides are made up entirely of EVA foam, which gives them that lightweight, cushy vibe, and they're surprisingly durable too. Now on foot, these are definitely one of the softest slides on the entire list. I mean, probably number 2 if I had to rank them. Let's talk sizing, because Yeezy Slides are notorious for being inconsistent. If your pair dropped before the Ochre release in 2022, it likely runs small, so most people had to size up. After the Ochres though, like this one I think dropped in 2023, Adidas adjusted the fit. Later models are honestly much closer to true to size, especially if you have narrow or standard width feet. Now for wide footers, you probably still want to size up regardless of the release year, because they are kind of narrow, at least in my opinion, but hey, they're comfy, so it's worth it. Now on the design side, it is classic Yeezy. It's minimal, it's sculptural, it's bold in its simplicity. It's one of those love it or hate it aesthetics. Personally, I think it's clean, I think it's modern, I think it's super versatile. You can rock these with sweats, with cargos, and even some chill summer fits. Now, of course, the fact that it's Yeezy means that there is still some hype. Even though these slides retailed for $70 when they first dropped, resale prices now are all over the place. On the low end, you can find pairs for maybe like $80 or around retail, but some of the older colorways or some of the pairs that were more limited can go for like $300 plus on places like StockX, which again, you can check them out through the YouTube shopping tab on your screen if you're looking for a specific colorway or a size, or just to check the resale prices. If you've already got a pair of these, which probably a lot of you watching this video do, you already know. They're comfy, they're stylish, they're super easy to wear, and if you don't, you're gonna have to pay up, unfortunately. Number 1, the Nike ReactX Rejuvenate Recovery Slides. For years, Nike has been on a mission to crack the code when it comes to foam slides, trying to rival Yeezy Slides and other chunky, comfort-first silhouettes. And honestly, they've missed the mark more than they've hit it. Probably the closest they came was the Calm Slides from a couple years ago. They look solid, no doubt, but once you actually step in them, they were too stiff, at least in my opinion. The comfort just wasn't there. But this year, Nike may have actually nailed it. Finally, enter the Nike ReactX Rejuvenate Slide. Essentially, this is a stripped back version of the Rejuvenate clog. Nike just basically chopped off the toe and the heel, and boom, you've got a slide. But don't let the simplicity fool you. These actually deliver. As the name suggests, these are technically recovery slides, but with post-workout comfort in mind, and the magic lies in the material, ZoomX foam. Yes, these same incredibly soft and responsive foam used in Nike's high-end running shoes. It's plush, it's squishy, and it feels like walking on a cloud. It's amazing. But what really sets this apart from the competition is the rubber outsole, which adds grip and durability, which most foam slides don't offer. Now let's be honest, Nike might market these as recovery gear, but again, as we said earlier, most people are gonna wear these for one reason, and that is pure comfort. And in that department, they absolutely deliver. I would go as far as to say that these are the softest slides on the entire list. They feel amazing. On top of that, they also look pretty good. The sleek, minimal design combined with those clean monochromatic colorways, these could easily pass as lifestyle slides, not just post-gym throw-ons. At just $60, I can genuinely say that these are a must-have pair, especially heading into the summer. I can already tell that I'm gonna grab this pair all the time. And when it comes to sizing, the good news is I would go true to size. Nike's kind of got their sizing dialed in, and this feels great true to size. So if you want to check them out through the YouTube shopping tab on your screen. But hey, if you made it to this point in the video, let me know your thoughts on this list in the comment section down below. Did I miss any slides? Are there slides that you wish I had covered? Let me know those thoughts. As always, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't yet, and I'll see you all in the next one.